is happiness? It's a moment before you need more happiness. I won't settle for 50% of anything. I want 100%. You're happy with your agency? You're not happy with anything. You don't want most of it. You want all of it. And I won't stop until you get all of it.
And Jon Hamm never did stop. And boy, what a journey it's been, from making tackles at John Burroughs to winning Emmys in Hollywood. And through it all, he's never lost his humility or his love for sports, particularly St. Louis sports. Jon Hamm is our Sunday Conversation guest.
Huey Lewis once said that all entertainers would like to be athletes, and athletes would like to be entertainers. So if I offer you being Yadier Molina for a year, would you take it?
At what point in his career? Because I don't think I want his knees in his back right now.
So I understand you play catcher in your men's league, and you have a rocket arm. How do you manage a pitching staff, and how do you hit?
Well, to be fair, that was a while ago. I think I've done what most catchers end up doing when they go to die, is I go play first base now. Yeah, I did play for a while. It's age creeps up on me. I'm closing in on the big 50 here, so I gotta watch out the way how many times I kneel down, especially in a men's league where half the crowd is under 30.
I remember seeing you at Ballpark Village when Ted Simmons went into the Cardinal Hall of Fame. What did Ted Simmons mean to you in your life?
Well, growing up, their family was very close with mine, and their oldest son, John, was my best friend growing up. We went to school at John Burroughs together, and he was kind of my first friend there. I didn't know a lot of kids that went to Burroughs. I grew up on the north side of town, so I didn't have a lot of friends from my grade school that had the opportunity to go to Burroughs. And John and I became really good friends, still are good friends. He lives in Australia now with his family. I played in a fantasy football league with Ted and his wife and all the kids, and I came in last. So I feel very, very proud of that.
You wore number 72 at Burroughs, if I remember, a linebacker, and you actually were pretty good at collisions. If you put on a few more pounds, you could have played in college?
Yeah, I had a pretty good frame. I ran about 195 and about 6'1" in high school, which was pretty big for a 2A school. We didn't have the growth hormones that they put in milk and eggs these days. So we were sort of normal size back then. That's probably about the average 8th grader these days. But we were really good, and we had an amazing facility there at Burroughs. And again, for a 2A school, we played pretty hard, and we had great coaches.
So we know that Hollywood has been affected by the pandemic, but you have movies coming out left and right in the near future. First of all, Top Gun, I hear visually it's just off the charts.
It's gonna leave a lot of people with their minds blown. I think I got the good fortune to see it over the summertime. They opened a theater for us, and we all had to sit 15 feet apart and wear masks and everything. But we got to see it on the big screen, which is the right way to see it. It's really visually stunning, and I think people will be really moved by the story as well.
I always thought that you'd be ideal in the Kurt Warner movie, but I think they've already cast it. But anything jumping out at you in terms of a great sports movie down the road?
I mean, I would love to see, The Natural again, or Be in The Natural. Like that was one of my favorite movies growing up. It was a great book, and it's an amazing, beautiful film. Field of Dreams, there's another one. But of the current stories, I think there'd be a great movie in the St. Louis Blues 2019 run, from worst to first. And I think obviously I'd have to play Jordan Binnington, just because I'm so young and limber.
You were heavily involved in that run. You did an interview with Joe Buck with Jordan Binnington. I know you love the Cardinals, but would that have been your greatest St. Louis sports memory?
Pretty much, just because it doesn't really have a parallel. I mean, I have so many disappointing memories of being in the old arena or the Kiel Center, or fill in the blank of any of the 7 or 8 iterations of buildings that they've played in over the years. Us being the favorites and a bad bounce or a fluky goal or what have you happening. And so to have all of those things go our way one year was pretty spectacular.
We see the finished product in Hollywood and all the movies you've starred in, but I'm wondering how scary the beginning was. I interview a lot of athletes, and some of them say, I envisioned this success. I knew this was going to happen. Did you know this was going to happen?
I certainly hoped I had a shot. You know, coming from St. Louis to LA is a pretty much a quantum leap in market size, to say the least. Not to mention competition. And I remember the first 7 or 8 or 10 or 20 auditions I went on, thinking like, well, I'm this is the numbers are just too vast for me to overcome. But after a while, you kind of settle in and you understand, like anything else, you learn the ropes, and you come to have believe in your confidence and your self-worth, and it starts paying dividends. And for me, it took about 3 years, which is, I think pretty average, honestly. I feel like I gave myself a realistic goal, and I was fortunate enough to meet it.
Your parents didn't live long enough to see your success. Are there ever times, or do you ever dream, I wish my mom or dad would have been able to walk into a movie theater and see me on the big screen? Do you ever think about that at all?
Oh, every day, every day, every day since I got my first job on TV, which was a few years back. A lot of years back these days. But yeah, of course, it's what is success if you can't share it with people you love? I mean, that's just a simple, straightforward adage. But the funny thing about family is you tend to, especially when you lose family so early on, you tend to find surrogate people who take the place. And Ted and Marianne Simmons were certainly that for me. And Bud and Susie Wilson, another great St. Louis family. Carolyn and Ernie Clark. The list goes on and on. My aunts and uncles and cousins. So I wish that they were here to participate in my success, but I'm also feel very lucky to have gotten to where I've gotten, coming from where I came from.
Let's say you're in St. Louis one day and there's a father walking with his son. The father obviously recognizes you, knows who you are. And the son says, Dad, who is that guy? What would you want the dad to tell the son?
Uh, uh, he's a good St. Louisan. He's a proud St. Louisan. I think there's a lot to be said for pride of place, especially in a place like St. Louis.